Welcome, beloved hearts, into the loving embrace of the divine. I would like to invite you to bring your awareness to your heart, where we can truly connect as one. I am Katrina Armstrong, and I stand before you today as a testament to the power of the divine. I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, all of which has birthed the alchemical movement that is Divinity in Action, that I am ecstatic to share with you here. Allow us to guide you through the wisdom of our esteemed leaders and uncover the secrets of the universe to unlock your true potential, as I had done in my life when I embraced the Christ consciousness and ascended into higher expressions of my soul potential. I'll share with you the teachings and wisdom that have helped me to transcend from my earthly bounds and realize the true expression of my soul. I'll be joined by some of the most compassionate and authentic spiritual leaders worldwide who also experience divinity in action. Allow us to share our insights and experiences. I invite you to join me on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Together we'll break free from past programming and conditioning and fully embrace our true selves. Join me in welcoming Terry Kuwanoe. Terry is a quantum seer and consciousness facilitator who is here to support you in exploring higher levels of self-awareness and vibrational states. Embarking on a journey of self-discovery and reaching higher states of consciousness can be exciting, but also challenging. Terry has the skills and wisdom to guide you along the way. Terry has a special talent for understanding complex energy structures that shape our lives. She can help you tap into these higher vibrations, unlocking deeper self-awareness and understanding. With Terry's guidance, you can navigate the complexities of your inner world and overcome obstacles that hold you back. She wants to empower you to access your full potential and connect with your true self. Through Terry's support, you'll uncover the layers of conditioning and perception that might be hindering your personal growth. She'll share how to face challenges head-on and clear the path to personal transformation. Terry will guide you on a journey of self-discovery, helping you gain clarity, find purpose, and develop a stronger connection to your authentic self. Get ready to embrace new realities and unlock the higher vibrations within you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you all that are attending as it is in life. If you are on this call or if you listen to replays of this call, you were meant to be here. You were called to be here. You were guided to be here, because nothing in life is without coincidence. There is no coincidence. We are absolutely divinely directed, guided, and supported into the field, into our lives, to embrace it, to recover all aspects or parts of ourselves that we have lost, we have given power away to through the conditioning and the programming of our belief systems, of our experiences. These are the perceptions that we bring into the field. This is how we see and interact with the field. This is how we go deeper into our own inner structure. And there is such a great deal of resistance that comes up through the field. And the resistance is of yourself, because there is such a depth, and there is such a uniqueness, there is such a beauty. There are so many gifts, and there are so many things, knowledge and information that each person uniquely brings into the field as part of the structure of the matrix of the field. So when I talk about the matrix of the field, your field itself is an energetic field. If you think of like your auras, this is actually a energetic field. And within that energetic fields are information, a lot of information. And it's not only information from this lifetime, it could be information from other lifetimes, as well as information from other lifetimes within other universes as other beings and other influences that may be within your field. So a lot of the quantum consciousness field is about removing the filters, as I call them, the veils, the anomalies and the overlays of energy that actually makes you see things quite differently than what the truth of what they actually are. Kind of like when you wear glasses that have, let's say, a design on it, like a kaleidoscope or, those funny glasses that make you see things kind of funny. You don't see things clearly. These are the
Yes.
filters. These are the things, and this is also the way and the focus of your lens of what you see. So when I talk about the lens of what you see, it encompasses so many different things, and it's what we focus in on with our mind, with the perception and the programs of our mind that have not been resolved and brought into flow, into purity, to allow everything to be shown to you because you are the master creator of all your experiences. There's a thing that I like to remind people, and I think it's very important, it's very relevant. There is no one that makes you think, feel, act as you do. Your behavior, what you create, is all yours. Although there are people that may influence you, there may be groups that influence you, there may be energies, foreign energies that may influence you. But the thing is, they will not influence you. They will not become a part of your own information and coding, as I call them, unless you accept it, unless you agree to it. So there's so many things that are happening across the planet that people tend to look only at the small picture of what is occurring. And there is much more within the field. There's much more going on in the quantum consciousness of the human into the soul consciousness. Two totally different things. Right now, people are experiencing a lot of chaos, a lot of questioning, a lot of searching, a lot of projection as well outside of yourself, but everything, the universe, everything. You are the living tree of life. You are the matrix of your creation. You are the creator of everything you experience. So it's kind of, let's just say it's kind of interesting when we resist the things that we create and when we blame others for what we create. You cannot clear it. You cannot heal it unless you embrace it as your own. And this is where spiritual responsibility and accountability come into play because nothing that is outside of you can be changed. It only can be changed within you because you created it. That's part
Wow.
of the conditioning that goes on. That's part of the
Absolutely.
anomalies. Yes.
Beautiful. Yes, Terry. That was my question. I was just curious, like, how do we end up in these situations or in these circumstances? How does this conditioning happen? And how do we make sure that we're not playing into this?
Well, you know what's so interesting about what's occurring now is a lot of the chaos that is creating is through the structure of the human mind. The human mind, the human brain itself is a structure because our brain processes so much stimuli in every single millisecond, every single moment. How it files all the information. It says, okay, we're going to dump this into the file cabinet of anger because this situation or experiencing that I'm having is similar to this the past experience that I had with anger. Within that, when the brain starts going through the neurological wiring in the brain and starts creating this network within the brain, there is also neurochemical connections that are being released. For instance, like someone that has difficulty with anxiety, part of the whole structure, or even anger, it's probably anger is a better example that a lot of people can relate to. You know how they tell you to, when you're having either anxiety or anger, is to breathe into a paper bag. Why? What it does is in that moment, when you are now focusing in on the breath and breathing into a paper bag, you are disconnecting or putting on pause the autonomic response that occurs in the neurochemistry of your mind, of your brain, of the physical body. And so these are some of the structures. And through that, you go into the programming or propensity within your DNA that you inherit from your family timelines. Like, let's say, families that have a short fuse, chemically within their chemistry, their biology is set up so that they have a short fuse. So literally, what the lesson is, or what the challenge is to transcend all that no longer serves you. And you also have the physical conditioning through the emotions of the experiences you have. If you grew up in a household where it was very challenging and you were told you were not worthy, you were not good enough, if you look at that, that message is something that has been handed down. That pattern, that habit has been handed down from generation to generation. So when you start looking at that, you start recognizing, okay. When you recognize that and it comes into your awareness, all aspects of your emotional and mental, as well as your physical capacities, now you have information to make a different choice. And that is where the empowerment comes from. Do you choose to perpetuate a pattern from the past? So right now, what's happening within the field is that with the energies that have been actually really amplified, and a lot of the filterings have been brought to the surface, because there's new energies that's coming from below, pushing all the density, all the wounding patterns up to the surface. Now you have a choice. Do you perpetuate the patterns of the past? Or do you take a moment and disconnect from that and say, okay, wait a minute. I recognize, I'm getting angry because I'm getting angry of a situation before. So what the mind does, what the brain does, what the human mind does, is it brings to the forefront, okay, my relationships don't work out because they've never worked out. So what is your focus? You have now projected this picture, this story, this perception into your field. And energy is very interesting. It's very, very wise. It aligns and it will create a whole story or matrix of whatever that experience is, including your perception of it. So this is where they talk about being neutral and being in the moment, because it's only in the moment that you have the opportunity to change the past, to be new and rebirth a new future. That's where the power is.
Yes. Wow, Terry, what you're speaking right now, that ability and that understanding that you're actually projecting this into your reality. So with this being projected into your reality and this playing out, that moment where maybe you've recognized, oh, I'm doing this, like I'm projecting this from a past experience. What tools or what way can we shift that in the moment?
Just like breathing into a paper bag, take a moment before you react. And this is very, very powerful. Take that moment before you react to sit there and really think and feel into it. Like, what is this all about? And most people don't do that. We are such uh, humanity just gets hit with all these triggers and we just react. There is no moment of silence per se, of stepping back out of it to sit there and go, okay, what am I really reacting to? And in the beginning, people go, well, that's great. That's wonderful. You can do it. We all go through that process because when this first started for me to take those moments to become more self-aware about what's going on, and I'm not saying it's easy because once your body, your physicality gets activated or triggered, it does take a conscious, conscious attention to step out of it. It does take courage to step out of it. It does take a bit of patience to go through whatever your process is, because this is not instantaneous. This is a journey. And each moment of your lifetime is a journey. And each moment dictates a particular, let's say, lesson or theme that arises within your quantum consciousness, that your quantum consciousness of your soul is trying to get your human consciousness to be aware of. And it's like, okay, I'm pointing my finger at this particular thing. This theme could be anger, it could be projection, it could be victimhood. These are all the archetypes. If you could look at Carolyn Miss, she has a great resource of what all the archetypes are. These are all stories. They're all stories that we create as humans. And all of the stories have a moral to it. They have a lesson. But most of the time, we're so involved in being in the story that we don't sit there and observe the story. And that's where the moment of disconnects comes in. That's the moment where you stop yourself and go, oh, wait, okay, I don't have to engage in the way that I have in the past. And like I said, it is practice. It is practice because what you're doing is you're retraining yourself, and that's not instantaneous. Perfect example is Pavlov's dog. Pavlov trained the dog to associate, okay, a bell, he's going to be fed. And over continual introduction of that stimulus, that trigger, he taught the dog to start salivating. Now, this is basically what we do through our life experiences because of what we focus in. We already come into this space with our stories and our experiences. We already come into this space of our relationships, of what we see in the world because of what we focus on. So people that have a tendency, let's say, to focus in on negativity, that's all they see. So even if a positive thing happens in their life, they don't see it. They don't recognize it. They don't accept it. They don't embrace it. They're in resistance to it because all they see is, oh, that person did this to me again. Oh, that person is doing this to me again. So the story builds upon itself. And when the story builds upon itself, it builds a structure. And that energetic structure becomes a blockage, a resistance. It becomes a lesson because energy is not made to be stuck. Energy is meant to flow. And if you feel yourself being out of what I call of alignment or not feeling yourself, it's because there's something going on in your field. And this is the dance, the relationship you develop with yourself, within yourself. It's not about what's happening outside of you. Everything, your whole world is you and what you create. So techniques, some of the techniques, very, very powerful. Meditation, grounding out the energy, changing the direction of a story. Let's say that someone's bringing up things that are triggering you. You can lighten it by laughter. You can change the story by redirecting what they're expressing to you. You can go for walks. You can go for, go listen to music. You can go listen to meditations. You can go into breathing exercises, because there's no one structure or one modality that fits all, because everyone is so unique in their energetic fields, because they're so unique in their experiences throughout their timelines. They bring forth within them so many beautiful, wonderful experiences. And this is basically God experiencing himself. He experiences life through you, through what you create. And in energy, there is no good or bad. There is no beautiful or ugly. There is no right or wrong. The perception and the label is placed by our human self. And that itself, the words we use, the labels we use, will dictate the vibration in which we express into the world. And so this is basically, the power is within you. If you don't like what your world looks like, everything is in you to change that. Because when you start changing your behavior, when you start changing how you see the world, when you start changing how you show up and engage with others, you start changing the world one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the quantum consciousness. This is part of the quantum consciousness. The power is within you to change. And so there's a lot of energies that are out there that are working to keep people locked into their stories, into past histories. There's a lot of control structures out there. There's a lot of gaslighting that's going out there. People ask me,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you jump on the bandwagon and get into all of these things? The reason why I don't is because I realize the structures of the energy. If I want to make a difference in the world, I do it energetically. I do it by holding a space, and that space
Mm-hmm.
is of a higher vibration. There are other people that are more activists that go out there, but there are always creative solutions to something. And
Mm-hmm.
I bring up this example quite a bit. The example being that, people that go out to protest war, and they get all angry and they get all worked up about things. It's not the war that they're protesting. It's a war that's going on inside of them. Because if the war
Mm-hmm.
is not going on inside of them, they wouldn't be triggered by it. The other
Oh.
aspect of, as an individual, you yourself have so much power beyond even the scope of your human capacity to understand and be aware of how you affect other people. Katrina, you're aware of the story I always use, the 4 minute mile. My son is a runner. The 4 minute mile. Back in the timeline of running, there was one individual, and I don't remember his name. You guys can Google it. One individual, the 4 minute mile record could not be broken, until one day, one person, one individual went out there and broke the 4 minute mile. What did he do? He put out there a template of what is possible. So all of a sudden, the 4 minute mile was being broken left and right. See, that is on a smaller dynamic. People don't realize on a smaller dynamic, you yourself have the ability to deconstruct the templates that confine you. But all of that structure is in you. And all of that is your journey within yourself to find that. What is the structures that limit me? What are the structures that confine me? And a lot of them have to do with conditioning or programs that you learn, especially in childhood. That's why so many people have inner child issues. Because as a child, you're wide open. Your field is wide open. You have not been programmed. You are limitless. Your imagination is limitless. The structure of you is limitless. Then you come into the human body, and start getting older, and you start getting conditioned and programmed how to exist in this human form within the society you're born into. That society may not be in alignment with the truth of who you are.
Uh-huh. And oftentimes it's not, right? That's part of the
Exactly.
great design of being here. And wow, Terry, everything you're sharing, the something that's ringing through here is how simple it really is, but it seems that it really takes this discipline, and the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate thing of getting to here is coherency. Because when you become coherent by taking that moment to call yourself back, to set in what is playing out here, what does it really mean
Exactly.
to me? you know um it seems, and I love the techniques that you're giving us, because we're talking simple techniques, and you hear them from many people. And oftentimes, when you understand like the actual nature, the quantum nature of it, you begin to recognize, because even your spoken words, I can feel them pointing back to us, right? Taking us
Mm-hmm.
inward, showing us like here.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's so magical in one sense, and in the other, the simplicity of it. And another thing that it's pointing at is the willingness. If
Mm-hmm.
you're truly desiring to fulfill who you truly are, the depths of you, and right now it's loud. It's so loud for so many that are being called out, being called forward, in this awareness. And that, you spoke in the beginning about this resistance. And I just want to kind of bring us back to that resistance. And where does this resistance come from? And why is it so strong right now?
Well, the resistance is a lot of the program to traverse into the unknown. There is a great deal. If you look in human behavior, we have a tendency as humans to stay in a place we know it doesn't serve us. We know it doesn't feel good. But yet we cannot make that next step into the unknown. Because within the structure that we're currently in, we know. You know what's going to come. Even if it's bad, you know what's going to come. And to step in off the abyss, and we all go through it. I mean, I'm going through it right now. To step into the unknown and to trust that I'm going to be caught. There is a great deal of structure well beyond my human perception that is assisting me to take that next step and to trust that next step. And a lot of it is in vibrational and alignment. Where are you coming from? Where are you focusing? What happens is when we go into meditation and we're able to raise our vibration, raising our vibration is literally like you're in a hot air balloon. And as you go higher, you're getting rid of those sandbags that keep you grounded or tied down into different altitudes. As you go higher, that's where you start getting the bigger picture. And that's where you start realizing a lot of the structures that no longer serve you. And that's where you start developing the trust when you start seeing and becoming aware. This is my thing. I say spirit is in the house because I started recognizing the patterns that were showing up in my life. And instead of going into resistance of it, it's like, okay, I know this is showing up for a reason. And if it's showing up for a reason, it means, okay, let's take a good look at that. One of the processes early on that I would incorporate is, because I feel energy, um, I would start getting into a relationship with my body, where literally, like when you feel that pit in your stomach, I would start talking and engaging in conversation with that pit in my stomach. And it's like, okay, what is going on here? Is this fear? And then I'd start asking all these questions. And this is part of the dynamic of asking the question. When we are in human form and our integration or interface with spirit, you hear this all the time. Make sure you are mindful of what you're asking for. They do not interfere where unless they are invited to. And they will be invited to in the way that you invite them. So they're not going to give you the whole shebang of what it is. It's very specific because energy itself is very specific. How you ask makes a great deal of difference of the answers that you're going to get. And this is where the discernment and clarity also come in, because when you start recognizing all of these things that are operating in your field, this is called self-awareness. This is your self-empowerment. This is your self-mastery. This is where you get to know yourself. And this is where you come into relationship within yourself. And that relationship develops into not only your relationship with your quote unquote personality, but it develops into your relationship with your soul as you go through the different process, because everyone is at different places in their life. And a lot of these places are different structures. So the structure, we don't jump from kindergarten to a master's in college. You go through the structures so that you build the platforms or the foundations in which you lay additional information. When your life goes chaotic, when things fall away, it's because the structure was not strong, meaning there was a fallacy, there was an illusion, there was a misalignment in that structure that was being built. Kind of like when you play those games where you're building blocks, when you start to lean too much to the right, the structure itself will topple. And that's part of the energy. Energy itself is not just construction, it's also deconstruction. So people that go to resistance and only want to focus in, oh wow, I'm so beautiful, I'm so wonderful, I'm so quote unquote spiritual, really miss the point. The point is the most growth is in your cave. Get in the cave of shadows. That's where your most growth will come. Because something about life, when everything is good, you don't look at those things, right? Everything is good. But the most growth comes from when things go, wow, oh my God, what is going on here? That's where your most potential for growth is, where your most potential is to heal wounding patterns, to heal your veils or your lens, to take there and put little windshield wipers on it, to take responsibility, to own it, because you cannot change anything if you don't own it. And there's certain things that come up in your field that you start to recognize. For me, for instance, when I get frustrated, I know it's not mine. Because frustration stems from not being able to change something. Hello, that's not yours. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to show up in this space and I'm going to own my reaction, my dance with it. I'm going to own what I can. And that goes back to God give me the serenity prayer, being the courage to change what I can and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what that's all about.
Yes, I'm really appreciating this conversation, Terry, because you're speaking, or what I'm hearing from you is like self-discovery, our self-mastery, our self-awareness, all of it's bringing us back to the
Mm-hmm.
simple willingness to be in that. And from that, you begin to open up in the design of you. So coherence, you become more coherent because you begin to realize what's truly not authentic from
Yeah.
your original design. And you begin to reclaim that. And that's where the real fun is,
Oh yeah.
and and
Yes.
the speaking of like holding the space, as you know, that's one of the beautiful things that we work with within the academy is how to cultivate ourselves so that we are that harmonic, that we are that essence fully integrated and embodied, and the skills of being able to hold a field in a space, which I'm experiencing right now, just being here on this call with you, that you're holding that space, which I know can only come from your willingness to go deep with this anger or this frustration, to be able to share this wisdom. So I
Mm,
feel like there's so much here that you're speaking to just through your presence, just through you showing up here and sharing this wisdom and this insight into the quantum nature of energy. So I'm in this deep place of gratitude because I'm watching the whole field, everyone that is here listening, and all of those that are listening to the replay. I'm watching these things that are highlighting. And why that's happening is because you've reached such a level of coherence within yourself and within your understanding through your own, what I call curriculum, right? Those circumstances, those life experiences, so we can all benefit too, right? So it's just incredible how it works.
well, part of the illusion is finding the lie, you know, you find the lie or the insanity, as I call it, in the story, So, people will project things at you and you go and you start doing the inner work. And all you have to do is find one lie within the story that's being projected to you. And you start dismantling that matrix. You literally start,
Hmm.
because now you now realize, okay, I do not agree with it anymore. And you fall out of agreement with that story. You see it a lot, in, out in the world. Let's say, for instance, people that follow certain, speakers or follow certain religions. And once they come into that moment of, wait, this isn't what I thought it was. The lie starts to reveal itself. And then now you start falling out of that ship.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, everyone is so unique in their structure that when they come into contact with the grid or the matrix or the consciousness and the levels of that is being presented in the field, because there's many quote unquote themes that are being released into the field right now. Your own design, your own energetic structure will relate and be triggered for that particular, let's say, theme that presents itself. Because when you come
Hmm.
into neutrality and you can just observe it and say, oh, okay, that person is being angry. Oh, okay, that person is being sad, or that person is being insecure. When you can neutrally observe it and be aware of it,
Hmm.
it's not your lesson. You have
Hmm.
gained a mastery of it that you can recognize it, and you don't have to enter into the arena or the game of playing that story in your life. So this is
And
where the energetics come into play.
absolutely. And as you say that, Terry, I'm being reminded of those moments of witnessing, the emotions around me, the being of anger, the being of sadness, and that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity that we have to just be there. And because we are not making it good or bad, right or wrong, but we have like an actual understanding or appreciation of it. That's what allows us to be able to hold the possibility of that sadness or that anger, whatever they're going through with it, right? In
Yeah,
honoring of it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so magical. It really is.
That it is. And through this structure, this is how we as individuals affect one another. And I've explained this before. Your field comes into contact. We're not an island. We're literally not islands. Our fields come into contact with other fields out there. And when you come into a field and you're witnessing, as a witness, you are assisting and supporting people to see things differently, because you are holding that space to see them differently. And so you bring up an excellent point about witness. How do you witness life?
Yeah.
So there may be, a lot of structures that come to the forefront right now, a lot of structures um, that deal with war and all of that stuff. But you, as you witness, you feed into a matrix
Mm-hmm.
conditioning of not just yourself, but many others that create this picture or story in the quantum consciousness field of humanity. This is where people don't realize. I keep telling people or reminding people, be careful of what your thoughts are and what your feelings are. And it is challenging, and we are all messengers to one another, literally. So when we're out of alignment, instead of going into resistance, which is normally what we typically do, and it depends on the structure of the individual that's interjecting whatever the message is into your space. Um, there's a lot of deep inner work that goes on within the individual. And a lot of people, when they get into an experience where, let's say, that they feel that somebody did them wrong, there is so much more than that because there's a history that the individual has established of not being in their own power. And so kind of like the story of like how they say a bully will not pick on someone who is stronger than they are. So
Mm-hmm.
your field literally dictates kind of the experiences that you will encounter because those
Wow.
experiences are teaching you to be empowered in whatever capacity that is, whatever theme that is. And so everyone is unique, not only in what they get triggered on, but also in how they transcend that because everyone is
Mm-hmm.
unique on their conditioning or awareness. Everyone is unique on their level of their consciousness. Everyone is unique in their energetic coding. So there is no one way to get to the destination. The whole part of it is the journey. Every individual experience that you experience, what do you do with it? How do you
Mm-hmm.
reframe it? How do you transcend it? How do you transform it? How do you transmute it? So it's all about, a lot of it is about resonance. Who do you resonate with? Especially when you come into the forum or the field of the different modalities, the different teachers, because everybody's energetic signature is different. And so
Mm-hmm.
someone, there could be two people that teach the same subject matter, but yet you resonate with one and you don't resonate with the other. It's because their energetic signature, their gifts that they bring within them to present and to teach is different. So I am not the only one that is receiving a lot of this information. There's many, including you,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all unique in how we translate that through our experiences. And for me, a lot of it has to do with energy because that's where the communication comes from my guides, the
Mm-hmm.
information. It comes in energetic form.
Beautiful.
It comes in energetic terminology. So sometimes I have to step out of that when people get that glassy eyed look and they say, what are you talking about? Okay. Field is like your auric field. Matrix is a combination of fields that come together that create a matrix. And so, all of these different things and everything that you experience is encoded in your encodements. Everything you experience. It's just that some are more, charged by the emotions or the mind than others. And so they will come to the forefront of your human consciousness and you will play that story. That's where we
Mm.
go into that disconnect and seek it out of it. Okay, let's go
Mm-hmm.
into the core, you go into the dance within yourself, and you start transcending that and you start accessing the bigger picture. So here you are in your balloon, you're on the ground, it's like, okay, I'm going to get rid of one sandbag. You'll go up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. The higher you go, the bigger picture you'll see. And this is a process. This is the journey. This is going through your experiences. This is the gratitude. Because one thing, every experience that you create is something you created. So why get angry? Why hate somebody? Why blame somebody? Because you created it. They were just the messenger. And thank you. And I'm not saying that, and part of that is forgiveness when it's, something that's really heavy duty. It's not to forgive the act. It never was. It's to forgive the person for doing the act because that person did so because in their capacity or incapacity to understand themselves. That's why they did it.
Wow. So much wisdom here, Terry. And I feel like just everyone just taking a breath into everything that has been shared. You've taken us so deep, and the information's been very clear with lots of newness. I can feel the newness that is already beginning to rise in those that are listening. So it's so beautiful to see, how working in the quantum energy, like how it shifts so much just by even speaking about it here. So thank you, Terry. Thank you for your presence, for all that you've
Mm.
brought us here today. And, ooh, yeah, as we take this into a place of kind of closing us out, I would love to know if there is any messages or anything that you feel to leave us with.
Enjoy the journey. When you start shifting your space, your energy into gratitude, when you start dropping the veils of resistance to seeing what is being created in your life, you will start letting go of a lot of things that no longer serve you. And part of that is knowing, really, really knowing you are not alone. And this is why through the structures of communication, of being in groups is so beneficial. Because as humans, we have a tendency to think that, my life is the worst. It's not. There's always somebody else that has experienced that. And sometimes through the sharing and communication with one another, this is where we hold space for one another to heal the wounding patterns. But a lot of that has to do with the willingness and the openness to step into that space. And also as a person that, to recognize when there are things that you can only hold the space for an individual for when they're ready, because everyone has their own timing and you can't rush that. You can't force it. You can't force the shifts. You can't force the changes. The only thing that you have the power to do is change yourself. And when you change yourself, you will start to notice that you will start changing the patterns for other people. Because now the energy that was in alignment for a certain pattern no longer applies. So it doesn't become a ping pong of stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction. Do you see the brutality of that? Because now you're just playing into a program. You're playing into a habit. You're playing into a structure that really doesn't serve you. And so when you start taking back your own power, when you start owning yourself and your ability to change whatever it is that you can. And it doesn't mean it's changing everything because all of this is incremental. It's moment by moment and it might be subtle. It might be big. We have a tendency in our human capacity. Oh, we want it now. We have to do it now. We gotta shift. We gotta do all this. All of that is a program because everything is timeless. You are timeless. There is no time structure or schedule as spirit, as soul. You do. And you release a lot of the stress that you put on yourself, literally. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether it is that, the perfection pictures. Oh, I've got to do it this way and only this. It's got to be perfect. Why? I used to clean my house from top to bottom, before I went on vacation. Do you know how stressful that is? Why? As long as it was, if it was semi, as long as it's not a huge mess, I was okay. So these are the things that you start to let go of. These are all the structures you start to go, okay, this does not make sense at all.
Well, it begins to not make sense once you begin to deconstruct it, right?
Oh yeah.
It'll keep showing it to you, keep showing it to you. What a great reminder to leave all of
Yeah.
us with, for sure.
Yeah, don't take it too seriously. Laugh about it. It's like, oh, okay, all right. My favorite song about me, just to let you know that it's not, it is a process, is Britney's Oops, I Did It Again. That's my song. That's part of my motto. Now I'm shifting it to if there's a will, there's a way. Because
Oh.
I'm done with oops, I did it again. Let's go create something new.
It's such a beautiful journey. I love what you're leaving us with. Have fun.
Have fun. Have fun.
Have
Enjoy
fun.
it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Terry, for being here with us, for sharing your wisdom, for enlightening us and bringing us into the quantum and presenting perhaps some new phrases for those that are listening, new ways to look at it. Most certainly those techniques and expressing the simplicity of it. I feel all of that landing in a big way for everyone here. So from my heart to yours, it's such a gift always to come together. And I look forward to seeing where it is all of this is taking us. And of course, from your message, let's have fun with it. Oh,
Much love, everybody. Much
yes,
love.
so
Laugh.
much.
Live, laugh, love. Live, laugh, love. Let that be your mantra. Live, laugh, love.
Love it. All right.
Oh, and
Bye for
dream.
now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, beautiful hearts, let's take a moment here to breathe into yet another powerful message from our Divinity in Action alchemical movement. I hope you found the teaching shared in this episode to be enlightening and empowering. Also, that you will take space for yourself to work with what was offered for your discovery and growth. Once again, I invite you to unlock your divinity through the wisdom of our speakers and to harness this beautiful energy to your benefit that will increase abundance, clarity, and freedom in every aspect of your life. By experiencing divinity in action, we will break free from past programming and conditioning and fully embody our true selves.